Hey, I haven't made a video in a while, but I had this experience the other day, and I just wanted to like document it. So the other day I went to Six Flags, and it had been years since I've been on a roller coaster. And my anxiety and my fear and everything associated with roller coasters was at its peak. Just terrified of going on this roller coaster, on the first one. And I'm sitting there in the chair, and I'm freaking out. I'm with some friends, so I'm trying to remain composed, and I'm like, okay, just whatever happens, happens. I'm just gonna let this whole event play out. And the ride starts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then, like, once the drop hits and the loops and the spins and everything, I'm like having a really good time, and my fear and my anxiety were threatened, like almost like their bluff was called. Like, cause my fear is like based off of irrational facts, or at least facts that haven't even happened yet, even if they are rational. So once my fears were confronted, I could like have my own realistic understanding of how I genuinely felt in regards to what I was originally afraid of. And I realized that my fear is such a simplistic idea, but my fear, it's blown so out of proportion, blown way off the spectrum of what could actually happen. So it was just really refreshing and empowering, and every roller coaster after that I was excited about it. I couldn't wait to get on it. And I realized that this is just like the rest of my life. The rest of my life, a lot of the times, I'll be immobilized by fear based off of facts that haven't even happened yet. And I know that feeling is so common and so all the time. It's just always. But then confronting it, it allowed me to have a new association with it and a new understanding, and come to my own conception of my reality. So 2 days later, I was at Pavilions, a grocery store, with two of my friends, and this beautiful European girl, she winks at me, and like I wink at her back. I feed this whole dichotomy that's being had here, and we see each other looking at each other, and like I confront her. I'm like, yo, like, what's up? Like, and we started talking, and the most significant part of this whole transpiring that had happened was, one, it was so out of character. I hadn't blatantly gone up to a girl like that in in a long time. Like, well, not too long, but not so frequently. I did it once like 3 months ago, but before that, man, it must have been like 2 years. So just that event happening for me was so healing and so refreshing, and it like it was like I like staked the flag in like my manhood and like my confidence. And that was the other thing, like when I had gone up to her, she was like, yo, like your confidence is blowing me away. She didn't say attractive or super hot or nothing like that. She was like, wow, like I'm like blown away by your confidence. And I think a lot of the times I will have this assumption of the way that other people are, and if I don't meet this expectation, I'm unworthy, I'm incapable. And I think that has a lot to do that way of thinking is also parallel to the way that I think about like roller coasters or other things like that, because I feel like I'm incapable of meeting the level in which I feel like needs to be reached to be successful at this thing. So I'm afraid of it. Like with this girl, like most of the time I feel like I don't have what it takes to reach what I expect her to need or want or anything like that. Which I've learned is like such a like blown out of proportion perspective. I've been watching a lot of TED Talks and just like how like my brain hallucinates in a sober state. And it was extremely fascinating, and the simplest example I can give you is a optical illusion. And pretty much it's just an optical illusion is an inability to really identify what's happening, right? Or what is really there. It's funny, this is a Tony Robbins office calling me right now. I would take it, but here's the thing. I know that the solution and growth lies more within the connection I have with you guys rather than the connection that I can build within myself, because this grows exponentially. This is growing beyond anything that I can quantify. That I can call him back. This will let me grow progressively. This I will be able to grow, but having this type of relationship allows me to grow just like it's like incomputable to me. Like every time I do something like this, first and foremost, I feel amazing afterwards. Second off, I know that I'm doing something of value, and I feel like that's why I feel amazing. But I don't want to get off track here. It's kind of still on the same track, but not so obvious. But so this whole misconstrued idea that I feel like I have about an optical illusion is an example of it that really has no reference in my life. But what if I applied the same type of thinking that I do in optical illusion, being like, I can't really comprehend what's happening here, or I'm just seeing something for what it's not, to my own life, to my own character, my own person. It's being like, maybe I don't actually know the way something represents in my life. Maybe I just, my ideas are just wrong. And I have this idea of myself that I'm incapable, that I just cannot meet the needs of somebody else. But then an interesting thing happened when I thought about the life that I have. I thought about my character, what I'm striving for, what I have accomplished, what I want to accomplish, all of these things. I thought about them. And then I thought about them in terms of if a girl came up to me, I'm interested in girls, whatever. If the opposite sex or opposite person that I was